South Korea's aviation industry is undergoing a major transformation with the merger of the two biggest airlines in the country, Korean Air and Asiana. For now, the two airlines are operating separately, though in the near future, Asiana, one of the half of the two airlines, is expected to be phased out and integrated fully into Korean Air. While the process for Korean Air's acquisition of Asiana has been completed, I know my opportunities to do a flight report with Asiana are limited now, though I recently got an opportunity to fly with Asiana on an overnight flight from Manila to Seoul's Incheon Airport on board one of their Boeing 777-200ER aircraft. I'll be sharing my experiences on board the Asiana flight between Manila and Incheon, the first time that I'll be doing a flight report on board a Korean-based airline. So to all my subscribers and those who are watching me for the first time, 안녕하세요, and welcome to this edition of Travels with Flights in Asia. Magandang gabi and hello from an evening in Manila where the sun has set as we make our way to Manila's Ninoy Aquino International Airport Terminal 1, where our flight with Asiana will be departing today. Tonight we're flying on Asiana Flight OZ704, a daily departure from Manila in the late evening just before midnight, which arrives the following morning at Incheon. Asiana is one of several South Korean and Philippine-based full-service and budget airlines operating flights between Manila and Incheon, a busy route for tourists and Filipinos alike. Among the players on this route are Asiana and Korean Air, the two recently merged Korean airlines, who operate a combined 6 flights daily between the two cities. Asiana operates 2 daily flights, while Korean Air operates 4. The two Korean-based airlines operate out of Manila at Terminal 1, which in my opinion is the least favorite of mine when it comes to international flying out of Manila. The small space upon entering the check-in area makes for a confusing and crowded scene. Unless you're flying with Philippine Airlines, finding your check-in line may require you to walk through another check-in line for another flight. The best way to know your check-in area before it's indicated on the flight information display board is to ask the staff at the information desk towards the center of the check-in area for those of you who are flying on the foreign airlines operating out of Terminal 1. Do note at Terminal 1 there is limited seating in the check-in area, but if all else fails, there's always a Jollibee to hang out at. Ahead of the opening of the check-in counters, the staff assisted those with special needs and care to a different line, while those with the regular check-in for business and economy were directed to the regular lines. Then there's also the line for online check-in, which if I ever did fly with Asiana or another airline that offered a service out of Manila, I probably would do it for my future flights. I did my seat selection when I booked the flight, but for those who did not, they do provide a seating chart for those who are not familiar with the aircraft and the seating configuration. After checking in and clearing through the security and immigration checks, you'll make your way to the pre-departure area, which can get crowded. On the positive, there are some great views of the airside, but if you do have any credit card or access to the lounges there, I highly advise to take advantage of it. Among the aircraft you can spot as it arrives from Incheon is our 16-year-old Asiana Boeing 777-200ER. For boarding the aircraft, you do have to go downstairs to the gate as you join your fellow passengers waiting for the boarding announcement, to which the boarding process for this Asiana flight was a bit of a first-time experience for me. After the business class and the Asiana and Star Alliance premium passengers boarded, instead of the boarding zones that is used by most airlines, using two air bridges, those seated on the left side of the aircraft, like me, would enter to the right-hand side, while those sitting on the right side of the aircraft would be entering to the left-hand air bridge, using the most forward door for entrance. Incredibly, we were able to board the aircraft, this wide-body 777, in 30 minutes, probably one of the most efficient boarding processes I have ever experienced. Something you'd expect from their Japanese counterparts such as ANA and Japan Airlines. Now inside the 777, we get a chance to explore the interior of the aircraft. This 16-year-old 777-200ER features two cabin classes with a total of 302 seats, with the majority 278 in economy with a 333 configuration. At the end of the flight, I was able to get some recording of the business class cabin and the 24 business SmartDM seats that the airline offers on the aircraft. So back in economy and our seat, we are provided with a pillow and a blanket as it is an overnight flight, along with the usual items in the seat pocket. For the charging ports, there is a USB charging port under the screen, along with the standard outlet below. In front of you is a 10-inch screen to access OZ Enter, Asiana's in-flight entertainment system. Also on the seat is a remote which, because the touchscreen was so good, unless you're playing a video game on it, I really don't see the use for it. To enjoy the entertainment options on OZ Enter, you'll also find the earphones provided, though you do have to put the covers on your own. I've heard that Korean-based airlines like to keep their cabins warm, and I really was kind of bugged by it. I'm one of those who prefer aircraft cabins to be very cold, and it really doesn't help that some of the wide-body aircraft these days don't have aircon vents on the overhead. If anyone can explain why these Korean-based airlines do like to keep their cabins warm, feel free to explain in the comment section below. Though I will say the seat was pretty comfy, and I'll compare it actually to the Emirates 777 experience I had between Cebu and Dubai a few years ago. While waiting for our departure from the gate, a flight attendant gave me an arrival card for South Korea. Apparently they knew my seat and knew my destination through their app, which is a cool use of technology. No matter what time you depart from Manila, it can be congested. And even late in the evening, we did have a delayed departure. Another peculiar thing that I noticed was the lights was not dimmed that much for takeoff, which did affect the quality of the takeoff footage. As we make our way northbound from Manila to Incheon, we'll take a look at the in-flight entertainment system. You can access the in-flight entertainment options on OZ Enter after the in-flight safety video, so while you're waiting for takeoff, you can already start to watch some videos or play some video games. If you happen to be into K-pop or K-dramas, you'll definitely be at home here. Even if you're not, there is also a wide selection of other options, or you can track the flight on the flight map. In addition, you can also access connecting flight information at Incheon, as well as the map of Terminal 1 at Incheon Airport. Then, after around an hour, the meal service was started. I do recall the options was a chicken porridge and some beef with potatoes, and for this case, I did want to see how Asiana handled serving a Western-style meal. So I selected the beef option, and I wasn't disappointed. Served along with salad and some fresh fruit, a Filipino touch was provided with the pandesal replacing the usual dinner roll. I also do want to recognize them for providing steel cutlery, even for this economy class meal. Now the beef, and I think this was one of the best beef meals I've ever had on a flight, as it was so tender I really didn't need to use the butter knife to cut it. And it was very delicious to say the least. I wouldn't normally hand out 10 out of 10 scores for food in economy class, but I am going to remember this meal for a while, so I would give it that score. Once things were cleaned up, the flight attendants would go around the cabin throughout the flight, offering other drinks such as coffee, tea, and water. Though for me, the priority was to get some sleep, though that proved to be a challenge with the lighting. Normally with other airlines, you'd assume that they turn off the lights or dim it down after a meal service, though this was not the case. I do have difficulty sleeping with the lights on, so I have my eye mask. If you're like me, I do highly advise you to bring your own that's comfortable. Two hours later, I woke up to just before we started our descent into Incheon. And after our delay from Manila, we made up so much time that we would arrive over 40 minutes early ahead of schedule at Incheon Airport's Terminal 1. As I woke up, I was able to reflect on my experiences on this flight with Asiana, the first of the two big South Korean airlines that I've been able to fly on. For the most part, this is a typical service on a full-service airline, though there were some noteworthy experiences such as the boarding process and the beef meal I had. Then there were some of the uncommon things that I experienced, such as the lighting on board the aircraft for takeoff and also well into the flight and until our descent. This is not the greatest flight in my opinion, but this does leave a good impression of Asiana, which unfortunately I'm not sure if I'll be able to fly with them again in the future. Currently, we don't have the timetable of when Korean Air will fully integrate the airline into the Korean Air brand. For now, both airlines are operating separately, with Asiana operating as a Korean Air subsidiary. And this flight report will be a snapshot of the overall experience of the transition period. What are your thoughts on this flight report and your overall thoughts of Asiana and any experiences you've had with them in the past? Also, how does the airline's in-flight services compare to Korean Air? As I'm looking for opportunities to also fly with the other bigger airline of South Korea. In the meantime, I definitely hope you enjoyed this edition of Travels with Flights in Asia. If you like this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching and have a great day.
번째 공항에 도착했습니다. 좌석 벨트 표시등이 꺼질 때까지 벨트를 지속 착용하시고 비행기가 멈춘 후 선반을 여실 때는 물건이 떨어지지 않게 주의해 주십시오. 또한 내리실 때는 안전을 위해 차례대로 내려주시고 순서가 될 때까지 자리에 앉아 잠시만 기다려 주십시오. 스타얼라이언스 아시아나 항공을 이용해 주신 손님 여러분께 진심으로 감사드립니다. 안녕히 가십시오. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Seoul Incheon International Airport. Please remain seated until the seatbelt sign is off. When opening the overhead bin, be careful of back that may fall out. For safety, please remain seated until the passengers in front of you deplane. Thank you for flying Asiana Airlines, a member of Star Alliance. We hope to see you again soon.